So we're just going to, if you've got some questions now, get onto your phone, get onto Slido. I'm seeing a few questions coming up already. And if our other speakers from the session wouldn't mind coming up and joining us, that would be wonderful. And also, just a quick announcement while they're getting ready, the Pawsome Ideas board is in the pre-conference area outside. So you're going to find a big board out there. We want you to dig into your bags and look at the pet rescue flyer and pet rescue post-it notes. And the aim is to share some ideas, because every year 100,000 pets are killed in our pounds and shelters, most without being offered for adoption. Community expectations have changed, but our pound system remains stuck in the past. So what we want is for you to put your ideas, how to change things, pop them on the post-it notes and pop them on the board. Put your name on the back, because then you'll go into, you'll have a chance to win an Endota spa voucher. So let's go crazy on that. And now I'd like to ask our speakers a couple of questions. So Rosemarie, can you provide any advice on how to recruit foster carers for ringworm-positive kittens and cats?
Great question. Can you hear me? Okay. Great question. So yes, actually, there are folks out there, maybe some of you are like them, that will love taking care of ringworm kittens. It's surprising, but it's true. And when you can find those people, so demystifying what ringworm is and that it's not so horrible goes a long way. And sometimes those foster parents are the ones who just, they were fostering kittens and the kitten happened to have ringworm, or, it got along the way, and or it surfaced along the way. And they said, well, that's not so bad. And they realized that there might be some ringworm spores still in their house, and they said, well, you know what, I'll take the other ringworm kittens that come along, and bless their hearts, they're wonderful. So yeah, let them know it's not such a terrible thing. It's very treatable, and especially if the outcome is going to be a bad outcome for those kittens, if they don't have a place to go, there's a lot of people who will step up and take on that job.
And another question for you, Rosemarie. Are there foster training manuals available for rescue groups to use as preliminary templates as a shared resource?
So yes, and that is something that the National Kitten Coalition has actually looked into, and because of the wide variety of what kinds of programs and shelters and demographics and budgets that are out there, creating one definitive foster manual, I think is really a task that I'm not sure could be accomplished. But there are many resources online. If you do an online resource or online search for foster manuals, kitten foster manuals, some may come up, and if you want to email me, I can go through my files too and give you something a little bit more definitive than do a search.
Yeah, it's nice not to have to reinvent the wheel. So you're not off the hook yet. There's another question for you. Can you give us some tips on recruiting and retaining carers for animals that may be at risk of euthanasia for behavioural or medical reasons?
Yes, so I guess kind of similar to the ringworm situation or to the neonatal kitten situation, letting the community know that these animals are at risk is a great way to get them on board with helping you out. A lot of times too, the behavior fosters and the medical fosters come from fosters who are currently in your program. And this is where that additional training, the offering fosters something more that they might want to do, is where they find their niche of helping out those animals. Similar with the ringworm animals, sometimes a kitten goes home, a dog goes home, and it develops an upper respiratory infection, and then all of a sudden the foster is in a situation where they now are fostering a sick animal, or they're going to return the foster animal to some other person to foster. So maybe providing them the training of how to do the eye ointments, and it just naturally evolved that they learned how to take care of a sick animal because one of their fosters was a sick animal or became sick during foster care. Also look to your veterinary community. Your vet techs, your veterinarians, your student vet techs or veterinary nurses, they may also want to get additional experience helping sick kittens, and certainly behavior is becoming a really up-and-coming field, and having people interested in that. So just advertise it.
Yeah. Joy, how do you determine if someone really can't afford desexing and should receive free vet work?
Okay, so the process we use is we ask them, first of all, do they have a pension concession card? And if they do, that gets recorded on the voucher, so the vet's entitled to ask to have a look at that card to make sure they're not bringing somebody else's card in. And then the second question we ask is there any other reason why you think you're deserving of a council desexing voucher? So we leave it up to them to raise what their issues are and listen to what they say. Yes, we do occasionally get people lying to us, but if they're lying to us, they probably wouldn't desex their cat anyway. So we just will do it, and we, therefore sometimes get a few complaints from some of the vets because they know those communities and they know the people in their communities, whereas we have never met them, so we have no idea. But in general, some people will just back off and they say, look, I have an income and therefore I'm clearly not a person. I just thought I'd ring and find out. Yeah, so usually it's somebody who says that they've got too many cats, or that they have been helping a stray cat and they just can't afford to desex it but they want to help it, or that they have had a marriage breakup, or they're a single parent, or they have several kids, whatever it happens to be that seems to be a justifiable reason for why they might not be able to afford $250 to $350 to desex a cat.
Jennifer, is your data accessible to the public, or will you be publishing it in the future?
Can you hear me? Yep. Okay. The data is still, it's more like a preliminary report at this time to see what outcomes were coming out of what we have at the moment. I am working towards a publication, so that will be available to everyone eventually. So yeah, a peer-reviewed journal is the goal.
Excellent. So maybe you can let Getting to Zero know and we can put it in the newsletter or something like that.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, Joy, do you believe that a decent trap-neuter return program would negate the need for the majority of these subsidies?
Absolutely not. No. There's a huge need. I mean, we receive over 20,000 calls a year of people who have cats that are their own, or that they are semi-adopting because they're in their backyard, like that letter that I read to you, who all need help with desexing. So there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people out there. If we could just help them, we would prevent a lot of the colony cats that are developing. Yes, there are a small proportion of colony cats that definitely need some help, and Jackie Rand will be presenting later, and I'm working closely on those committees as well, because yes, we definitely need some support for the colony cats that we just don't seem to be able to socialise and help. But that's only a really small proportion. Our staff over here, Nicole was only telling me the other day, I mean, a lot of them we can get through. That's correct, isn't it? With a lot of work, but a lot of them we can get through, but there's some that we can't. And there's a few that are part of that 7%, that if we just had the opportunity to do trap-neuter release, we would be able to put them back, but we can't socialise them enough. They're just too aggressive. Is that correct, Mel and Nick? Yes? To get them through, and then the other, that's only sort of half of that 7%. The other half is the irremediably suffering physically. So basically, yes, in different communities will be different, and there certainly is need for trap-neuter release, but there's certainly a huge need for people who own or semi-own a cat to get some help.
Thank you. I'm going to end the questions there just because I don't want to eat into your lunch, but we're going to go analog for a second, back to prize land, because I'm going rogue and giving away another prize, and I don't know what it is, but it's probably really good. And if it's not good for you, it'll be good for your dog or cat or foster fail, whoever that might be. So my question is, and what I want to do is, if you know the answer, just jump up and go crazy. I know that's not going to help the introverts in the room, but just go hard for a second, all right? And everyone's going to forget in 5 minutes' time. But then I just want you to because I don't have the world's best vision, so I'm going to need all my senses to know who is the correct answer. So, question is, how many concession card holders could be eligible for Pay It Forward in WA? So how much? 925,000. That is correct. You are the winner. Well done. Thank you. So you just need to go to the Getting to Zero desk at lunchtime and grab your mystery prize. And everyone else, lunch is being served in Nosh restaurant, so just straight ahead there. Thank you. We'll see you back at 1 p.m.